The gear crafting questline is an important one for any player looking to increase their power, because it forces you to do something that is essential for late game gear, which is to level this bench to 250 skill. Why we want this is because at 250 skill, these gear crafters vaults that you get from all dungeons you do can drop crystal gear for you. Also big shout out to Pika aka the Bald Void for helping me finalize this video. His inputs truly helped min-maxing the information you're about to receive, so make sure to follow him on Twitch and YouTube. He's also due to release guides for Trove, and on his stream he, to my knowledge, near always has giveaways and piñata parties that you don't want to miss. The power rank of your class, who is opening the boxes, will determine what tier of crystal can be dropped as long as you have the skill at 250. And of course that class weapon will be what comes out if you get a weapon drop. I will only tell you the relevant PR brackets here. To get your first crystal drop, you will just get it to drop from Geo Topside. I've talked about this in multiple of my videos. Check the light guide for example if you are confused already on this step. Then you will most likely find Crystal 2 as you work on your Stellar Cosmic Gems, mainly by doing 5-star dungeons. Now the next step is to get Crystal 4, which can be found from vaults if your class is 15k plus power. But you should keep trying to work on gems as long as you have Crystal 2 maxed out, and then when you hit 30k PR, the chance of Crystal 4 is 100% from the vaults. So you could gamble earlier, but it's better to save them for the guarantee. And also at 45k power rank, you start having a chance at Crystal 5 to drop. And all these pure forged gears, as they are called, will have 2 stars in them, or rarely 3 stars, so you don't have to invest as much in the regular forged later. So you want to save as many vaults as possible for when you hit these 2 milestones. Also, when you get the constant crystal 4s, you will get at least 90 crystalline cores each for loot collecting them, so I can't stress enough how good it is to keep your vaults for 30k. It will be a breeze to max out your crystal 4 gear. Now for how to go about all this. Starting off with the questline, here are all the steps. If you want to see them completed step by step, I won't do it here, but I did on my House Trove in 2024 video, starting at 7 minutes 27 seconds. That being said, this video should be enough since those steps aren't complicated in any way. So to level this bench, you will always be making 50 faces, because they are the cheapest, in each tab to reach the next tier. To get these faces, you either buy molds from this NPC or get them when loot collecting a face with 3 stars or more, but buying them here will be your default easiest method. To craft these, you can see a few reoccurring materials, which is the molds we just talked about, block elements and flux. The rest will be random resources that can also be bought with flux from the marketplace, and the molds themselves cost flux using our default method. So what we need to do is get a lot of flux and a lot of block element. I can't do the math for you on flux since prices fluctuate, but to go from 0 to 250 skill, you need 28,500 block elements. The best way to get block elements is just do a lot of dungeons and loot all legendary plus gear, because they all give elements when loot collecting. I recommend Geo Topside in a difficulty you clear quickly, because dungeons are usually simple, but it could be a lower world too. But for Topside, I also recommend this mod if you're on PC called Pink U10 Mobs, but it works for all difficulties, to highlight these mobs that always drops gear. Another chill method is if you can get into an active ship, of course, type /join ship and either get lucky with getting invited or try to find one in the D13 world and host yourself by looking for cleaners. Then you want to locate yourself to where you get drops from the chests for some passive vaults. Also at the end of a ship you get these upland boxes that contain some of the materials you need for the final tier of your gear crafter. You can also grab some daily elements from the NPC here for flux. And for all the flux you need, I recommend you watch Cashing Clean's flux guide as of making this video. Pika also said he would release a flux guide soon, so there's another reason to follow him and keep an eye out for that. But also a quick tip for any super beginners that don't have access to later game methods is just to farm any harvestable plant that goes for around 1k plus or so flux each on market, at least on PC, and console is just screwed. There are also some waypoint mods for this on PC, and or do your daily outpost quests for some chances at locked adventurine boxes to sell. Now that you know what to do, we only have the GEARCRAFTER terminus left to explain. So this becomes relevant when you are nearing that Crystal 5 gear, because when upgrading Crystal 5 gear you need these tempered block elements, which are supposedly a rare drop from vaults. But there is a trick. If you invested fully down this first path in the Terminus, and you go craft a bunch of tier 1 phases in the Gearcrafter, you will get a bunch of vaults and temper block elements, so I recommend you use my Terminus path shown here, and when upgrading Crystal 5, if you are low on temper blocks, this is the fastest way to get them. I personally keep it like this in case I want to upgrade more C5 in the future, but if you feel like you're done with the phases for temper blocks method, you can reset the Terminus and spec into the middle path for more passive vaults overall while doing dungeons or ships. Note that if you reset, you do not get your materials back that you invested. That's all, folks.